In this segment of POPPYN, we will tackle the issue of gun violence in Philadelphia and its relationship to school safety. While the government has done very little to prevent gun violence from being so prevalent, it's clear to see that others have taken the initiative to move the conversation forward. We decided to take the issue to our POPPYN producers to see how they felt about the general issue of gun violence.
What was your first encounter with guns or with gun violence in general?
A couple years ago, my cousin was shot while playing basketball with his friends. And that was honestly my first time ever feeling the impact of gun violence. And ever since then, I've been against guns.
My first encounter with gun violence was when my uncle was shot trying to break up a fight between two friends, and one of them pulled out a gun and he got hit.
Young teenagers are on the news all the time for being shot and killed, and you'll hear in the news that schools are getting shot up, and these are environments where I'm at all the time. So if it affects my neighborhood or if it affects any place that I frequent, then it affects me.
I feel as though gun violence doesn't affect me. I don't hang around those types of people that carry guns. I'm not saying there's a type for those people, but I don't hang around anyone who knows anybody with a gun or anything like that. And my neighborhood, I guess, is pretty safe, so it doesn't affect me personally.
Although some students feel gun violence does not affect them, this violence can appear closer than they think. We share the story of William Bethel, a young man who died in Philadelphia earlier this year at the hands of a firearm. Our producers who knew William had the chance to be a part of a memorial bike ride that was dedicated to their fallen friend.
We got together, we rode for William Bethel because he tragically got shot on Easter Sunday, and that following Saturday, April 14th, we rode for him.
So for me, it was sad, but then again, it was fun because we all got to come out and take our last ride with him.
For a kid that young, I've never seen so many friends come out to support somebody for anything, and that was so much love.
We spoke to Scott Charles, who is the director of the Cradle to the Grave program and a trauma outreach coordinator at Temple University Hospital. We wanted to hear more from his perspective on the gun violence epidemic in Philadelphia and how his program helps to inform people about the misuse of firearms.
Young people quite often are in the crosshairs when it comes to gun violence. For instance, gun violence is the leading cause of death for young black men in the city of Philadelphia. Somewhere close to 60% of the time that a young black man between the ages of 15 and 24 dies in the city, it's because somebody pointed a gun at him and pulled the trigger. Where gun violence is most prevalent is where you have lower economies. You have the lower household incomes where you have the highest rate of gun violence. The answer to this problem is really in trying to create jobs and opportunities, and you see violence happening where those things are scarce. I always say that doctors can fix almost anything. The one thing that they've not figured out how to fix is a broken heart, and that's why this issue really is an issue. It's about the pain and the heartache that gun violence leaves in its wake.
Finally, we take a look at the National School Walkout, where many students marched to advocate for the improvement of school safety. After the recent Parkland, Florida school shooting, students had enough of the fact that anyone could have access to and impose a threat to a place where they should be guaranteed safety.
Why are you here today?
I'm here today because I think that it's our right to ask for our protection in school and to feel safe when we're getting our education. And I think that our lawmakers and the adults in this country should be looking out for us.
How many people have to die for you to understand that it could be your kid next? Students should be able to feel comfortable and safe when they walk into a school place.
What brought me here is I'm here to show my support and my love, because this is a big deal that's going on. This isn't the first time it happened, and it's sad that us students, we have to put together a march in order to show that we want to be heard and we want change to come.
A lot of times when you have these kinds of massacres in suburban areas, the country responds quickly. And in the case of what happened in Parkland, you saw a nation that rose up, and you saw a youth movement that rose up. And the fact that the nation paid attention, I think, says everything about who the victims were.
Philadelphia's march led hundreds of students to walk out of their classrooms, demanding safer schools. The Philadelphia Student Union collaborated with Juntos, Galay, and other organizations to organize the march.
My school feels as though that we are not going to participate in this event. They think we're just going to go home. but I'm not like these other students who don't care about the cause. I'm all for my community and want to make the best of it.
The whole message of the whole march and rally was around school safety, but expanding what safety actually means. I feel like right now a lot of people are only focusing on gun issues and gun control, but we know that a lot of our kids have not felt safe.
So we're trying to find a way to make sure that none of this happens again. So we're coming up with ways of how to make our school safe for students and like what the students think.
PSU created a list of demands they want from the Philadelphia School District concerning school safety. They include divestment from school police officers, comprehensive mental and emotional health services, more guidance counselors and social workers, expansion of restorative justice practices, protection for students and families from ICE arrests around schools, and gun control that does not result in targeted policing of black and brown bodies.
Our schools need to be safe spaces for our immigrant communities, right? We need to ensure that immigrant parents are able to go into our schools and don't have to fear, and that our young people who are immigrant themselves or their parents are immigrants feel safe walking to or even being around schools.
We asked students about these demands, and here are their thoughts.
One of the demands for this march is the disinvestment of the police and the funding of more guidance counselors. How do you stand on it?
I feel like it is 100% unacceptable that we don't have enough guidance counselors at our high schools. They're unequivocally one of the best ways that we can help students mentally and help them emotionally so we can stop the main problem behind gun violence.
I feel like, two guidance counselors definitely isn't enough for 900, nearly 1,000 kids.
Having more counselors, we only have, I think, 2 counselors in the school, and one counselor is for the 12th graders. It's the college admissions counselor, so she helps you with college. And then the other one, he is for like all the emotions that you're going through, and he would have to deal with the entire high school class.
Do you believe in restorative justice for schools instead of suspension and expulsion?
Absolutely, I do. I mean, it is ridiculous that we've got this system. It's like a school to prison pipeline, and it's horrific. And children early on get then caught up, and these are mostly black and brown children, and it is not right. It's not just.
We have to make schools safer. We have to make education better. We have to make jobs more plentiful if we're ever going to have, we're ever going to address this issue in a real way. Otherwise, what we're all doing is we're all slapping Band-Aids on this issue.
We asked the organizers, what are the next steps in the process of fighting for safer schools?
You can get involved in any way possible, from talking to your principal to joining other student-led clubs to joining PSU, Juntos, and any other programs that support students, because we do have power and we can make change.
We're going to stay in the same situations that we're in. It's not going to do anything if you're staying silent. So using the voice that you have is the most powerful weapon that you can ever do.